I knew I'd see you here. How can we resist the Cliff Notes? Am I right? My name is Evan White, and I created the REACH course to help teach neighborhood councils, chambers of commerce, and the neighborhood action groups how to up their game when it comes to outreach. If you are only watching this video and skipping the rest of the course, then shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. That is likely what I would start out watching too. To get things started, here is the pre-course content segment for your viewing pleasure. Hello, welcome back to REACH. My name is still Evan White, and this is your pre-course content video. In the REACH program, you will have access to REACH videos, external links to help you learn on your own, follow-up homework, plus additional course materials and information in these 5 segments: Revive, Educate, Action, Communicate, and Healthy Community. The goal of this course is to give neighborhood councils in Los Angeles and neighborhood organizations around the country the skills and tools needed to engage with more people and significantly increase their local activity. Let's start things off with this. Congratulations to you. If you're watching this video, then you are an engaged and excited member of your neighborhood. You were either elected, appointed, or in some way you're a pillar of your community. So congrats and thank you. Next, if you haven't already, I need someone from your organization to fill out the form linked below this video. This is a simple form where you give me some of the information about you, your neighborhood, and an outline of your current digital footprint, including your website URL, social media accounts, etc. This form is part of the outreach audit that will help us gauge where you're currently at and what steps we need to take to start improving. As you're filling out this form, please take some notes to track down the logins and credentials for each of your social media accounts. If you don't have access to one or some of these accounts, make a note of it and we'll address it in our first one-on-one call. Next up is business cards. If you are part of the City of LA Neighborhood Council and you don't currently have business cards, we need to fix that today. To get started, it's as easy as making a phone call to the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment's office. I mean, it's not necessarily their job to get people business cards, but they would love to hear from you, I'm sure of it. And they are a fantastic point person and ally for you at City Hall. Do you want to make a call right now? That's fine. Send them an email. Contact info's right there. And when you do send the note, ask them about accessing your Canva Pro account and your Nextdoor account as well. Go ahead, I'll wait. Speaking of email, your NC should have an email database for your constituents. On the REACH intake form, this is listed as your e-newsletter provider. If you don't have an e-newsletter provider, you need one. And I recommend MailChimp or Constant Contact. If you're only just starting to build your database now, or you have a database of emails that you haven't added to in a while, the city clerk's office should have a list of emails from your last election, and you should start with that. Next up, I would like you to get a bit of perspective on your last election cycle. So check out your 2019 election numbers at clerk.lacity.org. Click on the city elections, then neighborhood council elections, then 2019 NC results, and find your NC. Once you find your NC, open an email and tell me how many people voted in total. How many people voted for you? How does that make you feel? How many more people would you like to have cast a vote for you in your next election? We are going to build a plan to increase these numbers considerably, but first, we need you to know your starting point. Are you ready to revive your neighborhood? Get educated on the tools that are available? Make an action plan for success? Learn to communicate like a pro while building healthy and engaged community? I am too. Let's get ready to reach. The REACH program has 5 sections: Revive, Educate, Action, Communicate, and Healthy Community. And this Cliff Notes video will break down each, starting with Revive. When I was elected to the Communications Chair for the Venice Neighborhood Council, I inherited a treasurer who had served many previous years, a president who'd been involved since nearly the inception of the Neighborhood Council system, a parliamentarian that has worked closely with the City Hall for over a decade, and a VP that is a pro at running meetings. Social media wasn't being leveraged. Our email tools were old school. The organization's logo was 17 years old, but we had a well-oiled machine when it came to the operations and overall board proficiencies. We had some things that needed attention, but we also have some very good things going for us. When I took an audit of the VNC's outreach efforts in 2013, I learned that our events were the most significant driver to new impressions for our neighborhood. I also learned that the longevity of some of our key stakeholders was an incredible foundation to build on. No one starts at a zero. You're all doing something right. You're probably doing more than just one thing right. We need to identify what those things are so we can build from your truth. A central piece of Revive is taking the time to conduct a full outreach audit to gauge where you are at and what needs improving. The next, and possibly most important piece, is following the money and knowing your budget. If you're part of the Los Angeles Neighborhood Council system, then learning about the budget is simple. The city clerk's office has something fantastic on their website, which is a tool to track where neighborhood councils are spending, alongside all of the other nearly 100 neighborhood councils. All of this information lives on the city clerk's website. They also have a pretty cool funding tool where you can see what all of the 90-some neighborhood councils' budgets look like, track where they're spending it, and you get a good idea of where these millions of dollars are going. Knowing where your board and other neighborhood councils are spending their allocated budgets will help identify where these resources of time and energy are working and where those resources are leaking. We need to identify where your spending is resulting in new and engaged constituents, where it is just evaporating and going into the ether, or whether or not these budgets are even being spent. How has your neighborhood council historically spent your budget? This is not a rhetorical question. Go look it up. Join your budget committee. Follow the dollars. Everything you're spending on, in my opinion, should in some way be tied to outreach. Everything you do should be trying to get more people to know about your organization. If you are not an NC, this all still applies to you. You'll just have to do a bit more digging to find your own answers. But I will tell you this, joining your budget committee and learning the process is an #1 route to reviving your organization. When it comes to reviving your digital presence, I suggest starting with the website while planning for a robust social media footprint. In this course material, I flip-flopped that and give you all of the social media suggestions first. For the Cliffnotes crew, let's start with the website. Get Rob Adams on the phone today and tell him Evan White sent you. Here's what you need to know. Now, Facebook has a handful of features that will help revive your page nearly instantly. Now, Facebook events are a great way to make your audience know that you're having meetings and town halls. It's best to create a new Facebook event for each of your meetings and town halls as soon as you have the dates, times, and venues locked in. This way, people can start to plan on attending. Facebook Live is also an excellent place for your meetings live video coverage, for your town halls, for your meetings, for your activations. I highly recommend that your organization invest in a Mevo camera. It is a tiny, super cool little camera, and it will make your live streaming for meetings easy and engaging. Now, make sure your meeting locations have Wi-Fi. If they don't, put a Wi-Fi hotspot on your next budget as well, because you will need one. Sharing live video coverage will revive your Facebook page the first time you do it, and it will reignite your audience every time you go live. More info in the homework material section, but you should know that the Facebook algorithms love video. They love live video even more, and this means your current audience, the people who like your page, will get a message immediately when you go live. This will build a network effect around your page and your video, sharing it to everyone. Now, Twitter is a great place for interactions with local media and local officials. I suggest you adopt the mentality that the more local accounts you follow, the better. Follow MCComsU and look at our followers and the people we follow. Then follow them all, or at least some of them. Twitter is personally, by far, my favorite social media platform. Maybe it's because I have a verified account. I've been on the platform for years and I've tweeted some insane number of times. But I also really enjoy the real-time nature of it all. Living in Los Angeles, it is wild to feel an earthquake and then quickly jump on Twitter and tell people where I felt it, where I am, how big I thought it was. Twitter is super fun for LA rain as well, and I highly recommend you get in on it. Instagram is all about images, and if you're not a photographer, it might be scary. So here's some homework. When you speak to Done next, ask them for your canva.com pro login credentials. Canva is a fantastic web tool that will help people of all skill sets create good-looking digital images. One of the fun ways Venice uses Instagram is around the Venice Chamber's trademarked Venice sign, reposting some of the amazing photos from tourists and locals alike. During the 2019 Neighborhood Council elections, the VNC used Instagram to post memes around the hashtag #RepYourVenice. YouTube is the world's largest video library and a place where people go to learn. I suggest your board create, and that might mean pay for, a nice 90-second or 2-minute long video all about your neighborhood, your council, and some of the things you love about what you do. This way, you'll have what I call a hero video on YouTube for anyone looking for information in and about your neighborhood. We can talk about more content for YouTube on our one-on-one calls, but for a baseline, you should have a single piece of well-produced informational content. You imagine the content, and I will introduce you to the production team that can take it from there. Vimeo is a pretty, more professional, artsy version of YouTube. So you'd never see stuff like the Numa guy over there. For our purposes, you will need a Vimeo account for the Mevo live video camera software. And Vimeo is a great place for your hero video as well. Vimeo is also an excellent place for press B-roll. When you are creating your hero video, also capture 10 to 15 minutes of B-roll for press pitching. Now, Snapchat is not an app that I use, but I get it, tons of people do. Snapchat has a cool feature called GeoFilter, where you can submit a request for fun stickers and in-app interactions to happen at public places in your community, like parks, cities, neighborhoods, and more. Imagine your next neighborhood hootenanny with a branded Snap sticker. Now, TikTok is the current rocket ship in the social media world. It is also the youngest startup on the list, but it's growing by millions a day. The audience is young, very young, but that's okay. And a good TikTok campaign could really tap into your local high school segment for your neighborhood. If you do go in this direction, make sure you have a place for these kids when they come to join your organization. An idea for your first post could be a do you know type of content, where a video with trivia about your neighborhood, cool, fast cuts, or a year in review for 2019, where every month since your last election, there's a blip of a few seconds on a 20-second clip. Now, LinkedIn is the only social media platform that my mom is on, and also the only one that she was on before me. For your organization, your LinkedIn page should be set up like a business or an organization page with the president @ email account. Once the org page is set up, glossy with nice new profile image, properly filled out bio section, ask every one of your members to edit their own personal LinkedIn page to show that they have a connection to your organization. Eventbrite is another great place to find people that are actually looking for events to attend in your given area. Zip code, neighborhood, city, etc. The app is all about events, only events, and it knows the types of events that its users like. So, you need to use this to your advantage and start listing your town halls on Eventbrite. You can use the same image and copy that you're using on Facebook, and Facebook even has a place for a link to your Eventbrite on the RSVP page. Making this link is a great way to start acquiring data about the people that attend your events, and you can use those in the email newsletter campaigns as well. Eventbrite adds another step, but the work builds on itself and your events will grow over time. Next on the Revive train is your website, which probably needs to be updated, but good news, we can do that pretty quickly. In 2020, a mobile-friendly website is critical. While it feels like we're on our phones 100% of the day, the data shows that about 50% of web traffic is taking place on mobile phones. So, if your site is not optimized to look good and work perfectly on mobile, you are losing countless opportunities to engage with people that are looking for you. When I joined the Venice Neighborhood Council as the communications officer, our website was atrocious. I was new to the board and I didn't know exactly the steps to take to launch a new website. But I learned them, I took the time to vet the would-be vendors because we needed it. After talking with about a dozen vendors that had been pre-approved by the City of LA, we selected the Web Corner to build the VeniceNC.org website. I highly recommend them. They built a platform for community organizations to use that has a front end that looks good and is mobily friendly. And it also has a back end where board members can update minutes, agendas, the calendar, the whole thing. Do yourself a favor right now and give them a call. Pause the video, call the number. The E is for educate, and this module has a 42-minute training video with a few deep dives into the neighborhood council system. We have cut all of that out, and instead you'll hear only about the interesting ways to increase engagement at meetings and community events. Another way to ensure your group hits the quorum numbers is by enticing members to attend with free food or other social drivers. And now, time for the raffle portion of our meeting. While raffles might not be a fit for every meeting, free food is. I see time and again that having food available dramatically improves the total number of engaged attendees. I host events in places like Venice, El Segundo, Austin, Texas, and Las Vegas. And when you feed people, they come out and lend their voice. Offering snacks, beverages, coffee is a great way to entice community members to attend your meetings and events. Here is a fantastic clip of a networking event that I held in El Segundo last summer. The idea was that generally speaking, the networking mixer is played out. They're ill-attended, they're not fun, and there's no real connections being made. So I started the Guacamole Mixer Company and hosted a guacamole-themed networking event. The response from the local business community was fantastic. We had to open up additional RSVP lists, and the venue was thrilled. Similarly, in Venice, the neighborhood council always has coffee, water, and light snacks from local restaurants and grocery stores available for our board meetings. This is to ensure that our volunteer board has something to eat at the end of their day before starting in on sometimes our 4-hour agendas. Later, I talk about what it means to be connected, how we make connections, and how we can use these connections. And how in today's world, what you're doing online really matters. Connections are everywhere. You have hundreds and probably thousands of them. Having a connection means being joined together in sequence. This can be a cause, a religion, a sports league, a political or business group. Connections are everywhere. For an emotional connection, we need a bundle of subjective feelings to come together, and when they do, they help to create a bond between people. These emotional connections unite us around shared beliefs and experiences. We can be connected by family ties or friendship, and we have social and professional relationships. One of the main takeaways from this section of the REACH program is to learn how to connect intimately with the community you live, work, and hold stake in. To me, being a part of a connected community means knowing who you live next to, saying hello, smiling, waving, stopping for a chat from time to time. It could mean borrowing a cup of sugar from your neighbors, or children playing with each other in backyards, or at a local park. How many people in your neighborhood could you name? You don't need to write this one down, but think about it. How many of your neighbors can you name? Here's an idea. If there are people in your neighborhood that you know, but you don't actually know their name, start handing out your business cards. If you have a box of business cards, they are probably gathering dust. So go find them, pass those things out in your neighborhood, and then order more. Ultimately, connected communities have residents who look out for each other, though there is a bit more to it than just having someone feed your cat while you're away on vacation. Connecting with your community in real life is essential, and in today's day and age, that generally starts with a wave, a smile, a door hanger, a letter in the mail, and in a lot of cases, through a post on social media. And now it's time to get your learn on. Digitally speaking, there are dozens of ways to make these connections with your constituents. From Facebook to Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, LinkedIn, TikTok, email marketing, and more. And then there are the non-digital means of making these connections, like bulk mailers through the USPS service, hitting the streets with flyers to canvas, and out-of-the-box ideas like bus benches and even drones. Connecting with your community in the digital age may seem daunting, but it really doesn't need to be. Your digital footprint all starts with your website. Whatever your URL is should be the primary starting point for your social media touchpoints. And then I give another deep dive into some of the social tools that organizations should be using to up their game. First, let's start with the elephant in the room, Facebook. This is the most utilized social platform in the world with some 2.4 billion monthly active users. Now, Facebook has plenty of product features that you can use, but none of them will up your page engagement like live video will. The Facebook algorithm works by ranking all available posts that can be displayed on a user's page or newsfeed based on how likely that user will be to have a positive reaction. Facebook's algorithm for ranking and displaying content in your newsfeed is based on 4 factors. Number 1, the inventory of all posts available to display, from friends, brands, etc. Number 2, signals that tell Facebook what each post is. Images versus text versus video. Number 3, predictions on how you will react to each of these posts. Now, this is based on your prior engagements with similar content. Number 4, a final score is assigned to the content based on all of the factors considered. Recent changes, dubbed the new Facebook algorithm, include prioritizing content posted by friends over advertisers, with a focus on meaningful interactions. One of the newest updates to the Facebook algorithm is the updates to video rankings. Now, more than ever, Facebook is placing an increased value on repeat video viewers. Meaning, if you keep your viewership coming back, it is safe to say that you'll see an increase in your video rankings. 3 things to consider here. Number 1, video viewing durations. Facebook values user attention, which means the longer the video, the more likely it is that you will see a bump in your ratings. Number 2, videos must be at least 1 minute long. Facebook recommends using videos that are at least 3 minutes long, but a minimum here is 1-minute videos. Number 3, originality. Facebook's emphasis on unique content carries on. Repurposed or shared content will be penalized, while original content will receive a bump in rankings. With all of this, live video seems to be the golden goose for the new Facebook algorithm. As such, I strongly suggest that your organization invest in a live Mevo video camera and start pinging your audience's algorithms. In my opinion, this is the best consumer technology available to get your community organization live streaming like the pros do today. At under $900, the Mevo Vimeo Pro bundle has everything you'll need, minus the Wi-Fi connection, to engage with your constituents online through live video. After video, specifically live video, Facebook events are probably the second most exciting feature on the platform for local engagement. This is a no-brainer when it comes to getting the word out about your board meetings, committee meetings, town halls, street cleanups, and more. With how busy people are these days, it is increasingly hard to convince people to attend events, and this is precisely where public events come in handy. I suggest creating a new Facebook event for each of your meetings and town halls, and then privately inviting your neighbors to those digital events. Once the event page has some positive trajectory, new likes, RSVPs, the Facebook algorithm sees those people that are planning on attending, they will start dropping the event into more news feeds, helping to amplify the reach of your meeting in a big way. Sharing images, text posts, and replying to messages are all essential as well, but live streaming and event marketing are the 2 big movers here. Up next, Instagram. Instagram is a Facebook property, but it has its own platform, login, and user base. 2019 stats show that Insta users are predominantly female, and the site itself is the 3rd most trafficked social site in the world, behind Facebook and TikTok. There are a few ways to use this platform, and they're all visual. Video, live video, and images. And at a minimum, you should be posting videos and images weekly from your events and from around your community. Here are 3 ways to get more popular on Instagram. First, set your profile to public. If you want to gain as many followers as possible, you'll need to have a public account, and you'll need to tell everyone you can that your account exists. Link your Instagram profile to your other social networks as well. You might as well get all of your existing friends connected to your Instagram account, because after all, they are more likely to interact with your posts. You can also link Instagram to update Facebook and Twitter simultaneously. Ask your constituents to follow you. Make it a point at your next board meeting to call out your digital footprint and request that everyone in the room take out their phones and follow your organization. Also, add your social media links to your next email blasts and your email signature lines. Second, follow lots of people. One of the easiest ways to start reaching out and gaining new followers is by following lots of accounts. You can't expect people to find yours if you don't reach out and interact with the Instagram community. I suggest adopting the policy of following as many local accounts as possible, even if you plan on unfollowing them later. Instagram will allow you to follow about 150 people per hour. Follow your friends. From your organization's account, go to your personal account and start following some of the people that you know will be interested in your board and what they're doing. Follow the accounts that are related to your neighborhood. Follow local businesses, political leaders, religious organizations, schools, libraries, the police department, fire stations. Follow them all. Always follow your followers. If someone is following you, you'll gain a long-term follower if you follow them back. 3, follow and comment on other popular accounts. Pick out some celebrities, local leaders, and other popular LA Instagram accounts. Follow and engage with them. Comment regularly on their posts to get their followers to check out your page and follow it. As far as content goes, I suggest posting 3 to 5 times a week. Next up is the now number 2 most visited social media platform on earth, TikTok. While incredibly popular around the globe, in the US, TikTok boasts about 40 million active users. TikTok is a video sharing social network used by millions of people to create short, lip syncing, comedy, and talent videos. Since this is likely a very new platform for you, I suggest starting by simply creating a TikTok account, use the same naming convention that you have for your Instagram account, and we can touch base on content ideas on our next call. Twitter is my favorite social site. It is an excellent place to connect with city services, local authorities, and the businesses and brands in your communities. When it comes to Twitter, here are the 5 best practices to help you create tweets that spark conversations and keep your audience engaged. Number 1, keep it short. A concise tweet makes an impact. Number 2, use visuals in your tweets. GIFs, videos, images, be creative. Number 3, incorporate relevant hashtags. Local, trending, you decide. Number 4, ask questions and run polls. And number 5, curate and connect with retweets and replies. Attached in the Resources tab, you'll find a free beginner's guide to Twitter, but seriously, how tough can 280 characters be? YouTube. This is the video platform that is all about learning. YouTube watchers are generally there to find new information, and this is what we're going to give them: new information about your neighborhood. YouTube is a critical marketing tool for practically any company in any industry. For neighborhood outreach, online video marketing presents a unique opportunity. Used effectively, video marketing can help you build trust and establish an organization as having an authority. With the advent of Siri, Alexa, and Google Voice, here are some stats. 40% of adults use mobile voice search at least once a day, while 20% of adults use mobile search at least once a month. These mobile voice searches on Siri, Alexa, and Google serve up video answers more than 70% of the time. This means that if people are in your neighborhood asking Siri questions about your neighborhood, and you don't have a good explainer video or a hero video up on YouTube, then you're missing out on these people. Next is Vimeo. Vimeo is the next largest video platform and is the perfect place for B-roll content for your community. You will also need a Vimeo account for use of the Mevo camera when you start live streaming your meetings to the web. You should set up this account once your board approves the budget for your Mevo Start or your Mevo Plus with the Pro bundle. We can talk it all over on our next call. Next up, Snapchat. Can you believe they're almost 9 years old? Let's take a look at the 5 best practices you should be focused on when delving into Snapchat. Number 1, be original. If you want your post to stand out, take the time to do something new. Number 2, keep it short and simple. By forcing yourself to be brief, you cut down on the chances that your audience will become distracted and fail to absorb everything intended from the post. Number 3, offer a variety of content. To do this, I suggest giving the login credentials to a few people on your outreach committee. Number 4, pay attention to the Snapchat style. And keep in mind that Snapchat is designed for raw footage that lets your users learn more about you. Number 5, break out your storytelling skills. Sure, Snapchat might limit you to a small, brief seconds of video, but that doesn't mean you can't stretch your story out over multiple posts. Tell a story that will grab your users' attention enough to have them coming back to see all of your posts. LinkedIn. This is really the social media platform that everyone needs to be on. For starters, you need to complete your profile fully. Pages with complete information get 30% more weekly views. Number 1, logo. Add your organization's logo to the cover image to bring your page to life. Number 2, overview. Lead with relevant terms and phrases that describe your organization's mission and purpose. LinkedIn members can search by keywords. Number 3, organizational info. Input your website URL, your location, and select your industry and organizational size. Number 4 is your call to action button. Customize this button to align with your goals and track who's clicked on it through the admin analytics panel. Once your neighborhood council page is set up, ask each of your members to edit their personal LinkedIn page to show that they are connected with your organization. This will send out a network effect to each of those board members' LinkedIn connections, bringing 10x results to the awareness of your page with every new member. Up next, email marketing. But first, a few email stats from HubSpot. Active email accounts are expected to hit 5.6 billion in 2020. Mobile opens account for 46% of all email opens. 35% of business professionals check their email on mobile devices. Apple iPhone is the most popular mobile client for reading emails, with 29% of all opens occurring on this platform. Gmail is a close runner-up with 27%. 73% of millennials prefer communications from businesses to come via email. 99% of consumers check their email every day. The most opened emails relate to hobbies, with an open rate of just under 28%. In today's day and age, you should be running an email program. You should be communicating with your past and current stakeholders via email. The email marketing tool that you choose should be one that aligns with your needs. There are many fancy and technical tools out there that may be too advanced for what you need at this point. The biggest mistake I see that bogs people down is getting caught up with the newest tool on the block. I suggest one of these two. MailChimp. This is the one I personally use. MailChimp has always been a platform for startups and for small organizations. They have an all-in-one marketing platform, from ads, landing pages, to email. Number 2 is Constant Contact. This is the one that the Venice Chamber of Commerce uses and the Venice Neighborhood Council. Constant Contact is an affordable and easy-to-use email marketing service. It has all the tools businesses need to create great email campaigns. If you think you need a newer or a fancy email marketing tool, we can discuss that on the call, or you can look up some of these: ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, Drip, Klaviyo, or Retention Science. Next is the email setup checklist. Number 1, determine what list of opted-in subscribers, if any, are going to be migrated over to the new platform. Clean and scrub any inactive, dormant, or unengaged stale email addresses with a tool like datavalidation.com. Sketch out what kind of lists and segments you have amongst your subscribers, like your master subscriber list, recent subscribers, most engaged subscribers, and so on. Begin your migration of your list of opted-in subscribers. Create any segments that are applicable to the new provider, like your most engaged. Go through the core setup steps with your new provider. MailChimp and Constant Contact both have step-by-step walkthroughs, or you can connect with their customer support team. Most importantly, make sure that your opt-in mechanisms for capturing subscribers are working, i.e. your embed sign-up forms, your checkboxes on your landing pages. Now that your email is set up, we need to welcome your visitors and invite them back. When a new visitor comes to your site, think of this like a window shopper who happened to be walking down the street. They passed by your store and saw something they liked, but they were not necessarily in the moment to buy. However, this is the opportunity for your fabulous sales clerk to say, "Thanks for stopping in. Take this flyer. It gives you 20% off your first purchase with us. You can use it today, or you can use it anytime within the next 10 days. This is exactly the way welcome pop-ups work, and your neighborhood council can do this. I know it sounds gimmicky, but the fact is that they work. When you follow up immediately with a series of welcome emails, you've nailed the basics of email automation at its finest. So add this to our list of items to discuss on our next meeting. And start thinking about what your fabulous sales clerk, your welcome pop-ups, might say. Here are a few ideas. Thanks for stopping by our page. Add your email to our newsletter for more information about our meetings, events, and ways you can get involved with X neighborhood. Or, you made it to our neighborhood council page, and we're happy you did. One more step before you go, please add your email to our newsletter list so that we can keep you informed of all the great things that we do here and keep you involved. Next up is email templates and design. One truth about email is that pretty designs don't really matter. We think they do because we've been taught that marketing needs to be pretty and full of bells and whistles, but sometimes the most straightforward plain text emails can make a difference And the most beautifully designed HTML-coded email can end up in our spam folders. This is not to say that you should never create beautiful HTML emails, not at all. You should test out and utilize a mix of both, plain text and HTML emails. I suggest you go to a site like reallygoodemails.com and creating 2 or 3 templates that you want to start continuously using throughout all of your campaigns. Action is my favorite portion of the program, where I teach my Engage method for event planning. Engage. E is for elaborate. No idea is too crazy. Dream big and get creative. N is for name it. Pick a name that people will remember and want to share. The first G is for get going. Get your volunteers and get planning the day of. A is for ah, and that was a yell. Tell as many people as you can, get excited about it, and yell about it. The next G is getting the word out. Tell your WTTFs, run ads, and alert the press. Go, go, go. E is for evaluate. Learn what worked and what needs to work better for next time. Then we go into timing of events and why planning matters. Humans like repetition. It caters to our need for stability and security. Routine makes us feel safe. So when I think about events and neighborhood town halls, I like to try to make them yearly or quarterly from the outset. You should be creating events that leave people wanting more and asking when the next event will be. Planning also becomes more comfortable when you think about these events in this way, because once you do the work for prepping and planning for the first episode, you will have a starting place for each episode that follows. This pertains to budget allocations as well. It becomes easier to plan and work as a board if the treasurer is in the loop on all of your event planning desires. Their job becomes much easier when they can allocate budgets for events, promotions, and outreach upgrades months in advance, as opposed to month-by-month planning. One of the annual events that I've been lucky enough to be a part of since 2014 is the Venice Holiday Sign Lighting. This is a Chamber of Commerce event that shuts down the street on Windward Circle and Pacific under the historic Venice sign. We install a giant stage and invite the community to come celebrate the holidays with us. At our last Venice Holiday Sign Lighting, 50-plus booths line the activation area. There were food vendors, live music, art for the kids, and more. We have giant Ferris wheel, games, photo booths. It really is fun for the whole family. Each year, there is a different surprise local celebrity on hand to pull the switch and turn the historic Venice sign on with green and red lights. Past stars include Matthew Modine, Robert Downey Jr., and Pink. You'd love it. And part of the reason you'd love it is the event has repetition. The Venice Holiday Sign Lighting is always on the first Saturday of December. This way, the planning group knows to block off the time and how budgets will need to be aligned a full year out. It also gives the neighborhood time to plan, and in many cases, something to look forward to. This is a big one. This repetition gives the public, our neighbors and fellow Angelinos, the ability to know that they can expect this annual community event. The major lesson of the action module is my Engage method for event planning. Similar to REACH, this is another acronym, and here you go. E is for elaborate. In the initial idea stage of your event planning, we go big. Then we go even bigger. There is no bad idea here. We're trying to be as creative as possible. What would your community just love? What has never happened in your neighborhood before? Can we bring in a snow machine? How about a petting zoo? Would the mayor attend if there was a skyrider? These are the types of things you should be thinking about. When I was tasked with finding and convincing people who lived in the greater LA and South Bay communities to take their first step into the new LAX Aloft Hotel, I knew I was going to be finding a needle in a haystack. And in the end, that's exactly where I looked. I created such an extensive list of crazy things to do that when I landed on a morning yoga session, complete with mimosas, a Bloody Mary bar, and of course, the most LA thing ever, cute, adorable baby goats, I knew it was going to be over the top and the Instagram community would love it. I elaborated on every iteration of a happy hour, every interesting social interaction, and kept compiling a list until I created gold. Next up is N for naming your event. Great events have fun names, like the Venice Hootenanny or Guac and Roll. Great events also happen regularly, like the Venice Holiday Sign Lightings. When it comes to naming, you can go in a few directions. You can find words unique to the event or unique names for events, like Bazaar, Shindig, or Hootenanny. Puns can help make your event name whimsical and easy to remember, like Pig Out in the Park. Another direction you may choose is smashing 2 or more words together to form an entirely new word, like I did with Splash Mob, which was a flash mob style event on Venice Beach that the Vidi community loved. My goat yoga event also had a perfect name, but if I'm honest, the perfect name didn't come straight out of the gate. It wasn't until the second or third event that it hit me. I had brought goat yoga to El Segundo. Goat yoga, Goga. In El Segundo, the Gundo, Goga in the Gundo. Once you have the name, G is for getting going. Quickly set the time, date, and pick the perfect venue. Make sure that your whole organization is bought in on the idea and that you have blocked out time on their calendars, and that they are excited and ready to volunteer for at least 2 hours during the event, plus either setup or breakdown. Getting going is the stage a lot of the pre-work gets done. And to make sure you have all the volunteers needed to pull things off, I suggest using one of the easy-to-use digital tools like Doodle or SignUp Genius to help organize volunteer hours and signups. Both are linked below. Once you have the volunteers list, you need to start planning every detail of the day of, including food, drinks, speakers, timing, pre-setup, breakdown, everything. This is where the real work begins. Let your committee carry the load here, but check in as often as a group as possible. The A is for ah, and that was a yell. Once the RSVP details are set, get it online and start inviting. Your event should first go on Eventbrite, then link that Eventbrite post to your Facebook event and click Publish. Make sure the Facebook event link is saved and used for your next email blast, and peppered into various social media posts on Twitter, Facebook, and Insta weekly leading up to the actual event date. We're not done yet. G is for getting the word out. Ask each of your board members to click the RSVP online and then tap them to personally invite some of their friends and other community members. Ask your event venue to help share the news with their audience and fans as well. Their email marketing, social media, event flyers, ads, etc. The next stage of getting the word out is sharing the event link with local community groups and alerting your WTTFs, the who to tell firsts. Once your WTTFs have the info, this is when you would be spinning up digital advertisements of your own, and on the PR side, you can begin to share this exciting event news with the community and various local press outlets. I've attached a few press release drafts in the materials section, and we can discuss in more detail some of the best practices for reaching out to local media and event calendar sections in our one-on-one call. Day of is a whole nother beast, and I'll be creating bonus materials with best practices for event day ideas soon. There are also links and downloads attached below to help your planning, and we can always talk about this more on our one-on-one calls. Then comes the last E in Engage, which is for evaluate. At your first outreach committee meeting following your event, set aside 15 minutes to debrief how things went. Discuss everyone's pros and cons and come up with the ways that make the next event better. More significant, with more conversations and more engagements. Evaluation is key if you want to keep growing, and there is never a better time to evaluate than immediately after whatever it is you're evaluating. In a perfect world, you're passing out short questionnaires to the attendees as they leave, asking for their advice. These types of real-life evals are great to bring to your outreach evaluation sessions. So there you have it. This is my Engage event planning method, where we elaborate and elaborate and elaborate until we have a compelling topic and value adds for the people you're trying to attract. We name the event in such a way that it makes people smile, remember it, and it is fun and easy for them to share with their friends. We get going, making sure that the commitment from your team is there, and they're ready to help carry the load. We yell it from the mountaintops and invite people like crazy, digital and otherwise. We get the word out to your WTTFs, local press, influencers, your full board, your friends, and any lists available from the speakers, venues, etc. And we evaluate what worked and what could be improved upon before your next event. Next, I go over personas and why knowing who your target audience is will help you in more ways than you know. And in the marketing world, the term used here is personas. You can think of marketing personas as the people you are really trying to go after. Here's your homework. What are the personas of your target community members? I want you to really think about this. Spend some time at your next outreach meeting to go over the worksheet attached. Name them. Describe them. Ask yourself, who wants and needs the product that your organization is selling? When you focus your attention and target your full community, you will open the window and gain access to the feedback from all community members, including homeowners, renters, workers, everyone. Take some time now to outline some of these key personas that make up your community. Parents, youth, seniors, business owners, various workers, people at the dog park, churchgoers. What is the makeup of your community? The aim here is to appeal to as many of these personas as possible, then to create events that will have a draw and a reason for them to attend for everyone. In the communication module, I discuss tools that your organization can leverage to engage better with your community and tools that you can use to work and connect as a board or a council more efficiently. Other tools you may consider using that aren't social media include telephone town halls or voice broadcasts. This is where people call in to listen to your voice. These can be live or recorded. And for this one, I like teletownhall.com. Text messaging is another great way to engage with your board and your community as a whole. The stats behind texting are big. Over 6 billion text messages are sent every day in the US alone. That's 2.2 trillion a year. To get in on this in a scalable way, you're going to want to check out Twilio and Textedly. If you're already working with or plan on working with the Web Corner for your website, tell them that you'd like to integrate the Twilio Messages API. If you're going about it ad hoc, start with Textedly. Text messaging services will give your organization another means of building connections and staying on top of mind with your community. These communications can be automated and they can be activated on demand in case of event or emergency needs. For voice-only meetings and communications, there are dozens of services for conference calls. I still use my free conferencecall.com line, but there are other cooler ones out there now like uberconference.com as well. Depending on your budget, there is something out there for everybody. In the video conference world, there are a handful of platforms that I suggest familiarizing yourself with. The top 4 are Zoom, Google Hangouts, Circle, and Around. Now these types of video conferencing tools all have their own sets of tools to keep meetings safe and secure, but I feel compelled to point out the waiting room function. After creating a meeting, passwords and pins will become available to invite people to join. At this point, you should create a waiting room where people with approved credentials will be placed before officially being admitted into your waiting room. This waiting room is just one of the steps to keep your meetings free from Zoom bombing or a spam attack on your underprotected meeting place. Here are 7 more ways to ensure your meetings are as secure as possible. Number 1, update your apps often to keep up to date on security settings. Use unique IDs and passwords for your various meetings. Make sure only the hosts can share the screen. Create invite-only sessions when appropriate. Lock your meeting sessions once they start. Disable cameras and media sharing in the chat. And manage who can chat and when. These platforms are often updated, and I will keep updating the description of these videos with new links and tools to utilize these services best. Team management tools are next on the list, and if you're not using Google Suite, what are you using? Seriously, I'd like to know. For an organization with multiple email accounts and users sharing content, Google Suite is a great place to start. I use Google Drive every day with my clients, boards, and even various family members for sharing photo needs. Dropbox.com and Box.net are also fantastic services, and you should probably sign up for a free account. These platforms only start charging once you store large amounts of data, so it's best to have access to all of them and then pick your favorite. The app Slack offers teams a platform to share ideas, files, and conversations in a searchable format. Public channels allow team members to communicate without using email or group text messages, and to keep all correspondence for projects in a single place. Public channels are open to everyone in the workplace, while private channels allow for private conversations between smaller subgroups. This is an excellent tool for project managing events, product launches, and planning for the future while working apart. Slack is available as a mobile app, desktop app, and accessible from a website to ensure anyone and everyone who needs access can access it. Asana is another tool designed to improve team collaboration and work management. It helps teams manage projects and tasks in one place. Organizations can create projects, assign work to teammates, specify deadlines, and communicate about tasks directly in Asana. Asana simplifies team-based work management, helping teams organize, track, and manage their work. Asana's basic plan is free, with a handful of add-ons available as you scale in team size and need. There are also links below with more details. These tools will help you reach the world and create a strong and secure structure for your board to communicate within. Part of the communication module addresses watering holes and why they are important. But what is a watering hole, you ask? When I talk about watering holes, I'm not talking about bars, and I'm not talking about ponds where animals go to drink. I'm talking about the everyday places in your community where large groups are already gathering. Please take a moment, pause this video, and build a list of watering holes that your organization could reach out to this week. To start this process, I suggest creating buckets or verticals to create shorter lists within. Something like this. Churches. Any and all denominations within your given service area. Businesses. Start with the most prominent buildings and work down from there. Business groups. This includes chambers, business improvement districts, neighborhood watch groups. You get the point. Schools. This can be public, private, and all ages, from preschool to high school. Sports organizations, hobby groups, the lists continue. Okay, now pause this video and go do the work. After knowing about and identifying your watering holes, we address the rule of 7. Enter the rule of 7. The rule of 7 is a marketing maxim that originated in the movie industry back in the 1930s. The studio bosses discovered that they could spend a certain amount of money on advertising and promotion to compel someone to see one of their movies. The rule of 7 states that a prospect needs to hear the advertiser's message at least 7 times before buying that product or service. That was back when there weren't that many options for people to see ads, and it was novel when they did see an ad or hear a commercial. So hitting that sweet 7 mark wasn't too tricky. In the 2020s, people have seen so many ads that our eyes and our minds have become trained not to see them. Without a clearly defined strategy to map out how you'll touch these prospects at least 7 times, your success odds are pretty slim. You might need more than those 7 times to be heard through all the clutter and hot button news cycles. This means what is said in your message matters. Not all touch points are created equal. To truly think like a marketer, you need to think creatively on how you can weave these 7 touch points across your various watering holes, your organization's social media footprint, and word of mouth and digital sharing. Last on the communicate hit list is the comms toolkit. Once you have upgraded your organization's communications and outreach platforms, you should pause and plan for the future. I suggest keeping a comms toolkit document handy on your computer. This can be a Google Drive document, Word document, or notes, whatever you're most comfortable with. And use this space to save all of the URLs and login credentials for your growing digital footprint. At this point, you have the tools for a healthy community. You just need to do the work to keep your neighborhood engaged. And you will need to set some goals and begin tracking your progress. I have got to start this video off with a big congratulations. If you have made it this far, you are a committed member of your community. You are doing the work, taking the notes, and working with me to move through each of the REACH modules. You have revived your strategies, and you are doing the work to succeed at a higher level. You got educated, and you are strengthening the voice of your neighborhood by connecting with all of your constituents. You built an action plan, and you are implementing the engaged method for meetings, town halls, and digital events. You are thinking like a marketer and using the tools to communicate like a pro. And this, my friend, is the groundwork for a healthy and engaged community. Now, set your sights on the future. How do you see your organization growing into your vision? And then we set some goals. So let's set some goals together. You'll be adding this to our agenda for our weekly meeting. What is your goal for the total number of voters in your next election? You know how many people live in your neighborhood. You know how many people voted in your last election. And now you know how to create real engagement within your community. So, how many total voters do you want to see casting votes in your next election? Give me a number. Next, what is the total number of participating board members you'd like to see active within your organization 1 year from today? How many committee members and committees will your organization have 1 year from today? To reach these goals, you'll be using the tools from this video series on a rinse and repeat basis to continue to craft these ideas and use the tools available to connect with more and more people. As you begin to implement and track your new digital footprint, I would like you to specifically monitor your social media engagement around events. To me, this is the true value of digital social networks. connecting people in real life, or digital events. And I think this will become more and more important as the world shrinks and children grow up with screens in their hands. So let's set a goal right now on where your social media engagement for your next 3 events will be. You should be planning for 3, 6, 9 months down the line, so let's set a percentage goal of increase over the next 3 events. Thanks to you, your community is more engaged and healthy. You've built a place where participants are free to have an open dialogue. The more participants with an open dialogue that an organization can retain, the stronger and louder their collective voice can be. Think about it for a bit. When you are truly engaging with all of your community, and they feel like, and they actually do have a voice, the community grows together. These engaged community members also start to help carry the load and drive initiatives that might have otherwise been overlooked. I talk a bit about the VNC's 22-person board, how we get 70+ people on the ballot for our elections, and then some 2,000+ people to turn out to vote. To create this healthy and growing community, the VNC has learned where to invest energy and what works in our community. During my time on the Venice boards, we have invested in events, outreach for our elections, technology, and time to foster our committee system with training and help along the way. Your healthy community will begin to take its own shape as more people join the conversation. You are building engagement both online and in person, and the longevity of your organization thanks you for it. And this has been your REACH Cliffnotes. If you haven't already, please reach out to schedule your one-on-one calls. Thanks for watching.